We all go through tough times in life. And honestly, it's usually when things get really hard that we feel like our strength is running low. Hardships come in all shapes and sizes. A health scare, money struggles, a rocky relationship, or just the everyday pressure of trying to juggle everything. When life gets overwhelming, keeping your spiritual life alive can feel almost impossible. It's like your faith, which once felt so strong, starts to fade under all that stress. But I want you to know this. Even in your darkest moments, your faith can be your rock. A solid base that holds you up and helps guide you through. No matter how tough things get, there are ways to reconnect with God and bring back that sense of peace and balance into your life. If you feel like your faith's been shaken, just know it's possible to rebuild it and find that inner calm again. If you've been through something like this, or maybe you're right in the middle of it, let's walk through this together. Let's find ways to strengthen your faith when life feels heavy. Spirituality plays a huge role in a lot of women's lives. And it's not just about religion. It's that inner space where we feel connected to something bigger than us. For some, that's God. For others, it might be the universe, nature, or another belief that brings comfort. Whatever it is for you, your spirituality is a real source of strength, mentally, emotionally, and even physically. It's like this invisible foundation holding you up in the middle of a storm. Ever thought about that? When you feel lost, exhausted, or totally overwhelmed, what helps you keep going? A lot of times, it's the simple act of believing that there's more out there than what we can see or control. For many women, that belief is in God. He gives us that deep down feeling that, no matter how crazy life gets, we're not facing it alone. Now, there's a difference between religion and spirituality. Religion can be more about rules and rituals. But spirituality? That's personal. It's your real, honest connection with God. It's not about being perfect or checking off boxes. It's about having that open, real relationship where you feel heard and loved. That kind of faith goes beyond church services or ceremonies. It lives inside you, in your quiet prayers, your thoughts, your heart. I know a lot of women carry this constant pressure to do everything, take care of the house, the job, the kids, and still find time for themselves. And in the middle of all that, the guilt starts creeping in. Am I doing enough? Is this what God wants from me? Those doubts can shake your confidence and make your faith feel shaky too. But that's exactly when you need to remember. God's not asking you to be perfect. He's asking you to show up with an open, honest heart. Building real faith is a process. It starts small like a quiet whisper, and over time it grows stronger. In the middle of tough times, that faith becomes your lifeline. It's what holds you steady when everything else feels like it's falling apart. So now that we've talked about why spirituality matters, let's dive into how it can actually carry you through the hard stuff. Life is full of ups and downs, right? No matter how much we plan or prepare, those crisis moments show up. Losing someone you love, going through a tough breakup, losing your job, money problems, they hit us hard. And it's totally normal to feel like your faith is slipping in those moments. You might be thinking, how am I supposed to stay strong when everything around me is falling apart? The answer? Faith. It's that anchor that keeps you steady, even when the waves are crashing all around. When things feel impossible and you can't see a way out, faith reminds you there is something more, something bigger than all this. It's like a light that shows up in the dark and helps you take one more step. Let me tell you about my friend Mariana. She went through a seriously rough patch. She lost her job, and not long after, one of her kids got really sick. She was scared, overwhelmed, and honestly didn't know how she was going to keep going. But what held her together was her faith. She told me that every time she prayed, this calm would come over her, like a hug from God, reminding her she wasn't in this alone. Mariana didn't have all the answers. And no, things didn't magically get better overnight. But little by little, she realized that when she trusted God, things felt lighter. Even in the middle of all the chaos, she found pockets of peace. Her faith gave her the strength to keep going, to wake up every day with a little more hope. Hard times, as painful as they are, can actually be a chance to grow your faith. It's not that God sends us problems, but He does give us the strength to face them. Faith reminds us that even when everything feels hopeless, there's a bigger plan at work. And that truth, it gives us the power to keep moving forward. I know that pain and fear can make us doubt everything, but I want to encourage you not to let the hard times shake your faith. In fact, try to see them as an invitation to get even closer to God. He's right there with you, even in the hardest moments. Now that we've seen how faith can be an emotional anchor during a crisis, let's talk in the next part about how to actually grow that faith in everyday life. so it keeps you grounded no matter what you're going through. A lot of times, we think spirituality is something we only lean on when things go wrong, like a safety net. But in reality, it's something we can build up every day, in small ways, through every little moment. That's what really gives us the peace we're looking for when life gets tough. A steady connection with God, even when everything feels okay. And no, this isn't about doing some big, complicated ritual or spending hours in prayer. It's the small daily things that matter most. It's about turning regular life into a space where you feel close to God, even in the middle of cooking dinner or driving to work. Have you ever just started your day with a quick prayer? It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Something like, God, please guide me today. Give me wisdom and peace to handle whatever comes my way. That tiny moment opens up a space for God in your life. It's like a little check-in, a reminder that He's right there with you. Sometimes it's just a simple thank you for waking up or for a warm meal. It's not about the length of the prayer, it's about the heart behind it. Another thing you can do is read a verse or a passage that really speaks to you. And don't rush it, just take a few minutes to sit with it. Sometimes the exact words you need find their way to you right when you need them most. It's wild how a single verse can bring so much clarity and comfort, like it was written just for you. When I read the Bible, I often find answers to questions I didn't even know I was asking. One verse that has brought me so much peace is this one. Don't be afraid, for I am with you. Don't be discouraged, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will hold you up with my victorious right hand. Isaiah 41 verse 10. Every time I read that, it reminds me that I'm never facing anything alone. And maybe those words seem simple, but when you're really going through something, they feel like a hug from heaven. Something else that's super easy and surprisingly powerful? Set aside 5 minutes a day for a quick spiritual reset. It can be anywhere, on the bus while you're making lunch or right before bed. Use that time to breathe, to pray, to just pause and remember what really matters. It doesn't have to be deep or dramatic. It's about reconnecting and reminding yourself that God's got you. Daily spiritual practice isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. It's about finding little ways to feel close to God that bring peace, strength, and clarity. It should feel like something natural, not like a chore. More like texting a friend than going to a meeting. You just show up as you are. Now that you've got some ideas for keeping your spiritual life alive throughout the day, let's move on to something else that can really make a difference. Finding a supportive faith community. A lot of times we think of spirituality as a solo journey, just you and God. And yes, that deep personal connection is so important. But let's not forget, we weren't made to do life alone. God gave us the gift of community, of people, so we could share our highs, our lows, and our faith journeys together. Have you ever felt like you were carrying everything by yourself? Like no matter how hard you try, you're still drained and exhausted? I've been there too. And let me tell you, that's when leaning on a faith community can be a total game changer. And I'm not just talking about going to church or joining a Bible study. I'm talking about real spiritual support, people who see you, who pray for you, who check in and lift you up when you're down. I remember a season in my life that was especially rough. My mom was really sick and I was juggling work, home, and all the emotional weight that came with it. I was tired, overwhelmed, and honestly, I felt like I was drowning. Then one of my friends from my faith circle reached out and asked, "How are you really doing?" I tried to brush it off, but she saw right through me. She invited me to a women's prayer group. At first, I was skeptical. I thought, what's that really gonna do? But being in that space, surrounded by women who were praying and sharing from the heart, something shifted. It wasn't just the prayers, it was knowing I wasn't alone. Some of them were going through worse than me, and yet, they were still standing strong in their faith. That gave me so much hope. The love, the support, the way they prayed with me. It filled a hole in my heart I didn't even know I had. I felt seen. I felt supported. I wasn't in it alone anymore. Faith communities remind us that we're stronger together. They walk with us through the hard stuff, but they also show up to celebrate the good stuff. Because when you're surrounded by people who get you, who believe with you, every little win becomes a shared victory. So, how do we find that support system? It might be through a local church, a prayer group, or even just a small circle of girlfriends who share the same spiritual values. What really matters is finding those people who are willing to walk beside you, remind you of your strength, and pray for you when life gets tough. In the next chapter, we're going to talk about spiritual loneliness, something we all go through at some point. Even when we're surrounded by people who love God, there are times when we feel far from Him. Let's look at how we can get through those dry seasons and find strength in our faith. Spiritual loneliness can be one of the hardest things to go through. It's not the same as being physically alone, sitting by yourself in a quiet room. It's deeper than that. It's that empty feeling in your soul when it seems like God is far away, like He's not listening, or like your faith just isn't enough. It's like wandering through a desert without a map, not knowing where you're headed or how to find relief. I went through a season like that myself. I was dealing with a painful loss, and no matter how much I prayed, it felt like my words weren't getting through. I felt lost, and many times I asked myself, where is God in all this pain? I felt so disconnected, like He was too far away to reach me. It's totally normal for our connection with God to feel shaken during times of crisis. Pain, fear, and frustration can make us question if He's even there. That emptiness we feel inside, it's real. But like so many other women who've been there, I learned something important. Spiritual loneliness doesn't mean God has left. More often than not, it means He's growing us. He might actually be closer than we think, leading us into a deeper level of faith and understanding. When you're feeling spiritually alone, it's so easy to think you've been abandoned. I used to think my faith was weak because I needed God the most, and He just seemed silent. But looking back, I can see now, He never left me. He was preparing me for something deeper. He was teaching me how to trust Him in a whole new way. One of the things that really helped me during that season was practicing gratitude. I know it's not easy when you're hurting, but stopping for a moment to notice the little blessings each day can shift everything. I started focusing on the small moments of peace, like a cool morning breeze, a friend's smile, or a quiet minute in prayer. Those small things, often overlooked, were God's gentle reminders that He was right there with me. Another thing that helped me a lot was staying consistent with prayer, even when I didn't feel like it was doing anything. I was taught to pray not just when life is good, but especially when it hurts the most. Even without clear answers, prayer gave me a sense of connection and strength to keep going. I also learned to remember the times when my faith had carried me before. It's so easy to forget the spiritual wins we've had when we're going through something tough. But thinking back to how God showed up for me in other hard times reminded me that, even though this season was painful, He hadn't abandoned me, and He never will. Spiritual loneliness hurts, but it can also be a powerful opportunity to get closer to God. It's a chance to renew our trust in Him and to believe He's present, even when we can't feel Him. If you're feeling alone right now, know that you're not broken. It's just part of the journey. Don't give up. In the stillness and in your persistence, God is already working something new in you. In the next chapter, we'll talk about what a renewed and strengthened faith actually looks like. How can we tell we're growing in our spiritual walk, even when the answers don't come right away? Let's reflect together on those signs and celebrate this beautiful process of spiritual renewal. You know that moment when you look back and realize just how much you've changed? Maybe you're still facing a lot, but now there's a strength in you that didn't exist before. That's one of the clearest signs your faith is growing stronger. It doesn't mean your life is problem-free. It means you've learned how to face things differently. One of my closest friends went through a serious financial crisis. She told me that in the beginning, she was overwhelmed, waking up in the middle of the night, worrying about bills and the future. But little by little, instead of giving in to fear, she started turning to God for strength. She made prayer a daily habit, started reading scriptures about God's provision and care, and even though nothing changed right away, she began to feel peace. She learned to trust that God was in control, even when things didn't make sense. That's what renewed faith looks like, when you can find peace in the middle of the storm. Another sign that your faith is growing stronger is resilience. Maybe before, you'd give up easily when things got tough or let fear take over. But now you bounce back faster. Not because you're immune to pain, but because deep down you trust that God is right there with you, no matter what. That kind of trust doesn't happen overnight. It's built little by little, in those small choices to believe, even when everything feels upside down. You'll also notice your faith showing up in your relationships. When you're at peace with yourself and with God, that peace naturally spills over to the people around you. You become more patient, more understanding, and less reactive. Because when you truly believe that everything has a bigger purpose, it gets easier to be gentle with others and with yourself. And here's another thing. When your faith is being renewed, you start seeing the beauty in the little things. Blessings that used to feel ordinary now become reasons to feel grateful. Just waking up and watching the sunrise, sitting down for a meal, hearing a song that touches your heart. all of that starts to feel more meaningful. It's like your soul opens up and sees beauty in what used to feel like just another part of the routine. And maybe most importantly, a strong faith helps you reconnect with your sense of purpose. During hard times, it's normal to ask why things are happening. But as your faith gets stronger, you start to see that even when the answers aren't clear, there's something bigger guiding your life. You start to believe that every step, every challenge, is taking you somewhere better, even if you can't see it yet. So how do you know if this is happening in your life? Pay attention to how you're reacting to the tough moments. If you're finding more peace, more trust, and more gratitude, even when things are hard, that's not a coincidence. That's the result of something real happening inside of you. That's the fruit of a deeper connection with God. And now more than ever, celebrate that growth. It doesn't matter if it feels big or small. Every step on this journey is worth celebrating. Remember, building a strong faith is a process, and every single day is a chance to grow. Even on the days when you feel stuck, just the fact that you haven't given up is a powerful sign of your faith. In the next and final chapter, we're going to take a moment to reflect on this journey, highlight the key points we've talked about, and of course, leave you with a special invitation to keep moving forward on this path of spiritual growth. We've come to the end of this conversation about faith and spirituality, but honestly, this journey is just beginning. Strengthening your faith takes patience, commitment, and most of all, love. Love for yourself and love for God. Every little step you take, whether it's a quiet prayer in the morning or a moment of gratitude during a busy day, is planting something beautiful in your heart. Throughout these chapters, we've talked about how spirituality can be your biggest support in hard times, how faith holds you up when everything around you feels like it's falling apart, and how daily practices and community support can make all the difference. And you know what's so beautiful about it? There's no perfect way to do this. Every little effort matters. Always remember this. Even when spiritual loneliness hits hard, you are not alone. God is with you, even when He feels quiet. He's working in the background, showing up in small ways, in those blessings you might overlook today, but that will one day make you smile with gratitude. Now, before we wrap things up, I want to invite you to share something with me. If any part of this message spoke to your heart, drop a comment. I'd love to hear how your faith has been growing, what challenges you've faced, and what's been helping you stay spiritually grounded. Your story might be exactly what another woman needs to hear right now. And hey, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future content that'll help you keep building your faith and finding peace, even when life gets tough. We're building a space here where every woman feels welcomed, supported, and inspired to keep moving forward with courage and faith. May this journey of faith and growth continue, and may you feel more connected to God and to yourself every single day. We're walking this road together, learning and growing one prayer at a time. And please, let me know in the comments, what's one practice you're going to start today to strengthen your faith? I'd love to hear from you.